Good morning and welcome to our community affairs program that we call 30 Minutes. Today our special guest is Brother Dan Huggins with the Refuge Church here in Union City, and we're going to talk about the King and Queen's Prom, something that has just really turned out to be fantastic for you, hasn't it?
Really has, and honestly, this is the first time that we've been able to have the King and Queen's Prom since COVID. This will be our fourth year to have the King and Queen's Prom, and I'm really looking forward to it because to me it's one of the greatest things that we get to do at the Refuge.
You know, people tuning in that hear you and I talking, they may say, is it already time to start gathering food for the feeding of 5,000?
Yep. Actually, yeah. Yeah, it sure is.
It actually is then, huh?
Uh-huh.
That's on the table too
It
then,
sure
huh?
is.
The King and Queen's Prom, of course, if you notice, it goes on all across the United States. How did this get started?
Well, when we started the Refuge, of course, the Refuge reaches out to the very marginalized people in our community, and that is across the board, whether we're talking about poverty or people with mental health issues or people with in addiction, people that just don't feel comfortable going to mainline traditional churches. And so we started looking into a way that we could provide a service and some fun to people in our community that had special needs. And we looked into a night to shine with the Tim Tebow Foundation, and which is usually around Valentine's Day. And there were so many loopholes that we had to deal with and just jump through so many hoops that it just wasn't conducive for us to go along with that, and it was gonna cost a great deal too. So we decided, you know what, we could probably pull this off ourselves, and so we decided to have a prom at some point during the year for people that had special needs, and that covers the gamut. That's people that have mental illness, people that have special cognitive issues, people that have handicaps. And another reason we didn't go with the Tim Tebow Foundation is because they had an age limit. And we just decided that we were going to open up the King and Queen's Prom to people of all ages that had special needs. And so that's kind of how it got started at the Refuge. And once we did it, we decided this is something we've just got to continue because it was so good. It was so encouraging. And the people that came and their families that came with them were so very appreciative that someone was reaching out and providing this fun time and recognizing all of these people that had special needs.
So children and adults.
Children and adults of all ages.
Yeah. They all had the excitement of it.
They did, yeah.
So what was the first one like?
Well, it was, kind of trial and error for us. We knew what we wanted to do, which was we wanted to provide a banquet, a very nice banquet, with a really nice meal. We had cupcakes, and it was set up like a true prom. I mean, it was decorated to the hilt, and so we had a banquet, and then we had dancing. We had a DJ that came and provided music, and everybody that wanted to dance were able to do that. And I'll tell you what, there were some folks there that had special needs that could really dance. We were really surprised, but there were also kids that were in wheelchairs, and they were able to get out on the dance floor, and the people that were escorting them for the night danced with them, and they all got to ride in a limousine, and boy, was that an experience for them. And so we would take turns, and they would get to ride in a limousine. And the funnest part of the whole evening was at the end, and I'm not going to share that just yet. But it was just a great experience for everybody, and so we decided we have to keep doing this. It's so much fun, so encouraging, and everybody loves it.
Is it true to say that all who experienced this starting out, your first one, they'd never done something like this before, right?
Yeah, they had never got to participate in a banquet prom situation like that before. This was their first experience to do that.
How did you find your participants?
Well, we came up with an application that we hope covers just about every need that the person has, and on the applications, it covers everything from food allergies. Do they have any things that would bother them during the evening, loud noises, flashing lights, those kind of things. And we put the application together. We take it to all the CDCs in at the schools in the area. We also send the applications to St. John's over in Martin. And we put it in the paper and obviously on the radio, and hopefully just by word of mouth, people will find out about it, fill out the applications, and get them into us.
No residential barriers anywhere, Kentucky, Tennessee, anywhere.
Anybody that wants to come, we are more than happy to have them there.
Yeah. And you also mentioned the participants and chaperones. So you had to reach out to a lot of people to pull this together.
We did, and so one of the things that's very special about this is getting the community involved through some of our youth groups in our churches, specifically Young Life here in Union City and Obion County, because we want the participants of the prom to have the full experience. And so when you go to the prom, you don't want to go by yourself. And so we have Young Life provide the escorts for our participants for the evening. And so they get dressed up, and they stay with the person that they're assigned to the whole evening. They eat with them, they dance with them, they go on the limo ride with them, they get their picture taken with them. And it's really as good and encouraging an experience for those kids who participate in this as the escorts for the evening with our participants as it is for the participants themselves.
Right. What kind of numbers did you have when you were able to do it early on before the COVID pandemic?
Well, for the first year, I think we had somewhere in the neighborhood of 35 participants. And the last time we had it, I think we got up as high as 50 participants, so that's a lot of people.
Yes, it is. You talking 50 participants, and then there's 50 escorts, and then family.
So
you had quite a crowd.
We did, but you know what? It was so much fun, and there's absolutely no reason that we don't want to do it again. And so another thing that we do is the time is from 4 to 7. So from 4 to about a quarter till 5, if the girls show up, the ladies show up, and they need their hair, fixed up, or if they need makeup, we have volunteers that come and help with fixing their hair and their makeup. And that's all in a private area, and then also if they need a dress, they certainly don't have to wear a prom kind of dress. They can wear any type of dress, right. And so we have those available if somebody wants to borrow one. Same thing with the guys. If they want to wear a suit or something like that, they can. They certainly don't have to. But if they need that, and we need to find one that they can borrow, we'll be glad to provide that as well. So when the guys get there, if they have shoes that they want shined, we'll have some of the guys from Young Life shine their shoes for the evening. And that's a lot of fun too. So there is a little prep time, and then we line everybody up and introduce them as they come in, just like they would at the prom. And so everybody comes in, we introduce them, they get their picture made, they go sit down where they're going to be eating.
Do you see any issue with the time period you've been off and then reorganizing again?
No, it kind of all fell right back in place, especially now we have people in the community who have asked us every year if we're going to do this again. They want to help and they want to get involved because it's such a great event. But we also have the manpower at the refuge now to pull this off again. And so we have plenty of people who can take care of this.
If someone has already participated in this, Brother Dan, can they do it again?
Please come back.
Yes.
Yeah, please. If you've been a participant or if you have family members that have participated in this as one of the King and Queens, we certainly want them back. And because we get to build relationships with them and love on them and just let them know how much we do care about them.
When are you going to have it this year?
It is April the 25th. That is a Friday. It's the Friday after Easter. And we will be decorating at the refuge at the Obion County Fairgrounds in the Junior Exhibit Building all week, getting ready for this. And so if anybody wants to come and help us decorate or be involved in any way of serving for that night, we would love to have them. At the refuge, we're all about community, and I feel like we're kind of a church and a mission for everybody in the community and, across denominational lines. So we welcome community support.
Yeah. And you also talked about dining for those who are participating. Who takes care of that preparation?
If you want the true prom experience, we want to provide them with that. And so we're going to have a really nice meal that evening. And so we'll have a choice of several different things because we know that a lot of people maybe have food allergies, or a lot of people like myself are picky eaters. So we'll have a couple of different proteins. We'll have some pork loins that will be cooked all night long and be very tender. We'll have some chicken breast. But we'll also have some vegetables, mashed potatoes, green beans, and maybe some baked beans, things like that. And since we're having people that may have the participants that are kids, maybe kids don't like that kind of stuff. So we'll have some chicken nuggets and some French fries and, little things
real
like
food.
that. Yeah, real food. But we'll also provide cupcakes, and we also have sugar-free cupcakes. We know that there are a lot of people that have sugar issues, diabetes issues, and so we're going to try to make it where everybody can have something. Of course, we'll have fruit and some things like that. So everybody will have something to choose from that evening. And also, we want the families to eat with us too, or the caretakers that come with the participants, and allow them to experience that as well. So the dining is not just for the participants, it's for them, the people who come from Young Life, it's for the families, for anybody that comes. That's why it's important that we have people fill their applications out and get them into us ahead of time so that we know how many people to prepare for.
So again, you're talking about the real prom experience. That's what it's all about, isn't it?
It really is. I mean, once we get started, it's going to be just like any prom that you would have at a high school, and I know that people are going to really, really enjoy it.
Why is this important?
Well, at the Refuge Mission, we feel like every human being has immeasurable worth. And that is regardless of their upbringing, their background, their past, their color, their ethnicity, their gender. Every human being has immeasurable worth. And I want to share a personal story without naming names, but one of my best friends from seminary, he and I actually preached in the same town twice. We're the same age, and he had a son that was the same age as my second daughter. And this son was born with cerebral palsy. And as he grew up, he had very, very difficult times walking. His speech was very difficult to understand. But he had the sweetest disposition. He had the kindest heart. And we got to watch him grow up. And he would go to youth camp with us and, participate in all the things that we did as much as he could. And as he got older, there were a lot more complications. He had numerous surgeries. And it became very difficult for him to walk. And I can't even begin to imagine what was going on in his mind as far as being able to wish that he could do things that normal kind of people were able to do. And he was just a very special individual. In worship, he obviously could not sing and enunciate words the same way that we do, but he would lift his hands and he would make noises, and I believe with all my heart that God recognized that, and that was, he was a very special individual, and he and his mother were well, they passed away. I'll just leave it at that. And so when we started the refuge, this young man was always in the back of my mind that there are people in our community that are so often overlooked because of their circumstances, because of their disabilities, and I know in my heart that God loves them just as much as He loves me. And so we just want to be able to show people in our community that no matter who you are, no matter what your disability may be, or what your lot in life is, that you still have immeasurable worth. And I want us as a group of believers to be able to show people that and allow people with those disabilities to experience what we get to experience all the time and take for granted.
I'm guessing there's a pretty hefty cost to putting this prom on.
There is. We have to purchase the decorations. We have to purchase the food. We have to rent the limousine and all the other things that go along with that. So, yeah. But you know what? It's worth every dime to me.
And who bears the cost for it?
Well, the Refuge Mission picks up the tab for this. And but, anybody that wants to help out and donate, we don't always ask for donations, but we won't turn them down either.
Right. And when you and I were talking a couple of days ago, you were talking about a very important thing to talk about with this King and Queen's Prom was the fact that need to get these applications out and underway for those who are going to participate. Is that correct? That
it's extremely important because the applications not only let us know how many people are coming, whether it's the participants or their families that may be coming with them. But again, if someone has some very special needs, if they need wheelchair access, if they need a walker, or if there are any dietary issues that the person has, we want to be able to provide that. We had a young man that came several years. He passed away, unfortunately, and he was very special to us. But he could not eat solid food, and so we provided milkshakes for him, and And so the applications tell us everything that we need to know so that we can provide for the participants whatever it is that they need. And it also gives us the opportunity to prepare efficiently and correctly for everybody that is coming. So people can get the applications online at the Refuge page, which is refugechurchuc.com, or on our Facebook page, The Refuge. And they can also pick one up at Commercial Bank downtown. They can get one at the Union City Messenger or here at Thunderbolt Radio Studios, or they can drop by our office and at the Obion County Fairgrounds and pick one up. But we ask that they turn these in by April the 17th, and that gives us ample time to purchase the food that we need to get for the number of people that are going to be coming, and then what? Yeah,
you need a head count, don't you?
We do need a head count, and once they get the application filled out, they can either mail it in, or they can drop it off at our office, or leave it with the Commercial Bank or the Union City Messenger, or even here at the studio, radio studio.
Sure. Yeah, because if you have 50 who are participating, you've got to find those 50 dates for them too there, don't you?
We have to find the dates for the evening, and then also we have to count, possibly 2 or 3 people that may be coming with the participant.
Yeah. And family participation and caregiver participation, that's got to be huge also, though.
It is.
The support for them.
It is. And, oftentimes the family or the caregiver of someone with special needs, they as well are often overlooked. And they need support as well. And so hopefully this will be a great experience for them as well.
Well, let's just, Brother Dan, let's just map out the entire evening for the King and Queen's Prom. Just let us hear.
Okay. Yeah, so if the ladies get there around 4 o'clock, we'll spend about 45 minutes for the ones that want to get their hair done or their makeup done. They can do that while the guys are getting their shoes shined. And then at 5 o'clock, we are a little bit before that, we'll have them line up. And at 5 o'clock, we will introduce each participant with their date. And that takes a little bit. And then they all sit down, and then we have our banquet. We have our meal. And we'll spend a good 30 minutes giving people time to go through the line and eat. And of course, if there are people who need help carrying their plates and stuff like that, we have volunteers that do that. So we'll spend some time doing that. And then afterwards, we will begin our dance. And we'll have some slow songs, we'll have some line dancing, we'll have some fast songs, and they'll also play songs that I've never heard and honestly don't care for. But during that time, during the dance, we also go through the list of participants, and we will rotate them in and out of the limousine ride. And the limousine ride usually takes around 7 to 8 minutes. To do that. They'll make a big circle around Reelfoot Avenue, and then back down First Street, and then back to the fairgrounds. And then we'll just continue to do that until everybody has gotten an opportunity to ride in the limousine. And a lot of times the family members want to ride in there too with their kids or their family members, and so we allow that as well. And then after everybody gets back in, has ridden in the limousine, and we're kind of coming to the close, we'll dance a little bit more and have a lot more fun. And then we get to the part that everybody looks forward to, and that is the crowning of the King and Queen of the Prom. And so what we do is we have a lot of chairs set up in the back of the building. We ask all the participants with their dates to go and sit down. And honestly, you just have to be there to experience it. You can see the excitement building in every participant's face. It's just amazing. And so I'll have my list that I go through, and I will announce the king and queen of the prom. And when I announce who the queen and the king of the prom are, to see the just overwhelming excitement come all over those people, that makes the whole evening worth it. And so the ladies come forth, and they are presented with a tiara, and they, we'll have a lady put a tiara on their head. And then I'll announce the king of the prom, and he'll come up, and we'll have one of our Young Life guys give him a king medallion around his neck. And so we have our king and queen of the prom. Now, you would think that the evening would be over at that point. And so they go and they get their picture taken together, the king and queen of the prom. But then I say, and our king and queen of the prom is, and trust me, everybody that has not been called yet does not realize that a king and queen has already been crowned. And so they think that I am fixing to announce the king and queen of the prom. And I am. And so I'll call another queen, and she'll come up and get a tiara, and another king, and he'll come up and get a medallion. And they think that they are the king and queen of the prom. And so we go through this process of all the participants being crowned a king and queen of the prom. And of course, they all get their pictures taken. We get those pictures developed and give them to them as for free, of course. And so just to see the excitement and overwhelming joy, and of course the family members, I mean, they get to see all that happening, and they get to see the joy in their family members' faces. And to me, that's what makes the evening so special, is that every participant gets crowned king or queen of the prom.
That's fantastic.
It really is.
That's fantastic.
I mean, it just, we do this for them, but we are really the ones who, I mean, I can't begin to describe how just much joy it gives me to be able to see their faces and to recognize how special this is to them.
It's something they probably think of for some time down the line.
Yeah, I'm sure they do. And that's why I have people in the community who have been participants over the last several years have called me, when are we going to do the King and Queen's Prom again? And I need a dress, or I need some shoes. And I'm like, well, we can't do it this year because of COVID, and I don't know when we're going to get to do it again. And so I'm thrilled out of my mind that we are finally able to get to do it again.
That's just fantastic. And you're going to do it on Friday, April the 25th at the Refuge Church. But most importantly, we need to remind people again to get the application as soon as you can.
Yeah, if you have a child that's in one of the CDCs at the any of the county schools or the city schools, they should have been given an application already. And so if you need an application, if you have a friend or a family member that needs one, the Downtown Commercial Bank, Union City Messenger, or Thunderbolt Radio Studios here in Union City will be glad to get you one. And get those turned in by April the 17th.
Got to have that head count and the food count.
We do.
Brother Dan, we thank you so much. What you do here in the community, you and all your volunteers, it's amazing. And this is another exciting piece. We appreciate you tremendously.
Yep. Thank you very much.
And that concludes this week's 30 Minutes program. We hope you enjoy today's show. And, of course, we invite you to tune in again next week at this same time as we bring you topics and information of importance to our community. From all of us here at Thunderbolt Broadcasting, until we meet again next week, I'm Charles Choate.
You've been listening to 30 Minutes, a community affairs program on Thunderbolt Radio. You can listen to this broadcast and others anytime by visiting thunderboltradio.com and following the Thunderbolt Radio and Digital YouTube page. Thanks for listening.